he invoked God's name and his blessing in his first leadership role as the President of the United States. Now, as you've probably stated before, there were covenants made before that. The very first one in Virginia, the next one was in the Mayflower right. Compact, and then Washington will do it on his inauguration day. And he will, on purpose, invoke God's name and his blessing for this land. He'll put his hand on the Bible. That's his very first act as president. The very first Speaker of the House when we get our own Constitution will be a pastor. Our founding fathers were not winging it. These guys had a biblical worldview that had been instilled in them with their education and their training from their mothers and their grandmothers, and it was a common thing in the United States. And so he invokes God's blessing right after he puts his hand on the Bible, takes the oath of office. He walks down to a church with everybody with him, and he gets on his knee and he says, "We will be your people and you will be our God." And it's exactly like those first three covenants are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah. It's just like the covenant of Israel. So we aligned ourselves with the God of Israel at the very beginning of this. And that's going to be tested later on. We'll have a civil war with North and South split. That's exactly what happened with Israel. So a lot of our history lines up with those original covenants. But Washington, the fact that Washington knew this, and he knew where God made covenant with Abraham in Genesis 17.
It's fascinating. And you know, the thing about George Washington, nowadays you don't, in schools, unfortunately, public schools don't teach the fact that he was such a man of faith. He was committed. In fact, he was so committed, he was a man of prayer. And if you go back and read your true history, you'll find that's exactly who he is. And here's a quote. He said, "The American cause of independence would have come to a complete disaster except for one thing, the direct intervention of God to save us."